Good evening, Americans. Welcome to The Ed Show. I'm Michael Eric Dyson in for Ed Schultz. We are awaiting remarks by the President of the United States at the National Urban League in New Orleans, Louisiana. President Obama's address arrives on a truly auspicious day in the normally do-nothing Congress. Today, the Senate actually passed a one-year extension of middle-class tax cuts by a simple majority vote, 51-48. The bill did not have to muster the normal filibuster-proof 60 votes because of a last-minute deal struck between Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. An alternative Republican bill to extend the Bush tax cuts for everyone, including the wealthy, failed. President Obama issued a statement. It reads in part, "With the Senate's vote, the House Republicans are now the only people left in Washington holding hostage the middle-class tax cuts for 98% of Americans and nearly every small business owner. It's time for House Republicans to drop their demand for another $1 trillion giveaway to the wealthiest Americans and give our families and small businesses the financial security and certainty that they need." I'm joined by Democratic strategist Bob Shrum, MSNBC political analyst and former DNC communications director Karen Finney, and Huffington Post political reporter Sam Stein. Thank all of you for joining us here tonight.
Thanks.
Glad to be here.
Hey.
So this is huge. Senate Republicans were outmaneuvered, and now House Republicans are the only ones standing in the way of a middle-class tax cut extension. Do you think Democrats might campaign on this, Bob? Let me throw that to you.
Oh, I think they will campaign on it. I think Democrats are going to be out there all the time talking about who's the party who's standing up fighting for the middle class and who's the party who's going to fight a last-ditch battle to give away the most to the people at the top. I think that will be central to this campaign.
So, look, in speaking to the Daily Telegraph about President Obama's new view toward Great Britain, a Romney advisor explained why Romney would be better. Quote, "We are part of an Anglo-Saxon heritage, and he, Romney, feels that the special relationship is special. The White House didn't fully appreciate the shared history we have." After we hear from the president, I'll pick up about why we think it was wise or unwise for Romney's advisors to raise the clearly irrelevant factor of Anglo-Saxon heritage. Let's listen to the man they claim has no Anglo-Saxon heritage.
If the fact that this is called the Montreal Convention Center had anything to do with folks coming down to New Orleans. But it is good to be with all of you, and I'm glad I caught you at the beginning of the conference before Bourbon Street has a chance to take a toll on you. All right. Y'all stay out of trouble now. Hey, everybody, please have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. Couple of people that I want to acknowledge. Obviously, first of all, I want to acknowledge your outstanding president and CEO who has shown such extraordinary leadership for so many years, Marc Morial. Just like we've got an outstanding former mayor of New Orleans, we've also got the outstanding current mayor of New Orleans. Mitch Landrieu is in the house. Fine young congressman from this area, Cedric Richmond, is here. And one of the best mayors in the country. We're glad he came down from his hometown of Philadelphia. Mayor Michael Nutter is in the house. And all of you are here, and I am grateful for it. And we love the young people who are in the house. Mitch, don't you? I wasn't referring to you, man. I was talking to those folks over there. Mitch is all waving. Thank you. For nearly a century, the National Urban League has been inspiring people of every race and every religion and every walk of life to reach for the dream that lies at the heart of our founding. The promise that no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter where you come from, no matter how modest your beginnings, no matter what the circumstances of your birth, here in America, you can make it if you try. Of course, this dream has never come easy. That's why the Urban League was formed. In the aftermath of the Civil War, with the South in the grips of Jim Crow, the waves of men and women who traveled north to urban centers discovered that even in their new homes, opportunity was not guaranteed. It was something you had to work for, something you had to fight for, not just on your own, but side by side with people who believed in that same dream. And so the white widow of a railroad tycoon and a black social worker from Arkansas founded what would become the Urban League, to strengthen our cities and our communities brick by brick and block by block and neighborhood by neighborhood, life by life. Decades later, I arrived in one of those cities, my hometown of Chicago. Southside. And I was driven by this same cause. You know, like many of my classmates, I understood the pull of a hefty paycheck that might come from a more conventional job, but ultimately the pull to serve was even stronger. So I moved to the south side of Chicago, and I took a job with a group of churches, mostly Catholic parishes, working to help families who had no place to turn when the local steel plant shut down and when panic peddling had led to enormous turnover in these communities. And we worked with lay people and local leaders to rebuild neighborhoods and improve schools, and most of all to broaden opportunity for young people, too many who were at risk. And I confess that progress didn't come quickly, and it did not come easily. Sometimes it didn't come at all. There were times where I thought about giving up and moving on. But what kept me going day in and day out was the same thing that has sustained the Urban League all these years, the same thing that sustains all of you. And that is the belief that in America, change is always possible. That our union may not be perfect, but it is perfectible, that we can strive over time through effort and sweat and blood and tears until it is the place we imagine. It may come in fits and starts at a pace that can be slow and frustrating, but if we are willing to push through all the doubt and the cynicism and the weariness, then yes, we can form that more perfect union. Now, the people who I worked with in those early days in Chicago, they were looking for the same thing that Americans every place aspire to. We're not a nation of people who are looking for handouts. We certainly don't like bailouts. We don't believe government should be in the business of helping people who refuse to help themselves, and we recognize not every government program works. But we do expect hard work to pay off. We do expect responsibility to be rewarded. We do expect that if you put in enough effort, you should be able to find a job that pays the bills. You should be able to own a home you call your own. You should be able to retire in dignity and respect. You should be able to afford the security of health care. You should be able to give your kids the best education possible. That idea that everybody should have a fair shot, not just some. That this country is special because it has grown this magnificent middle class and has provided ladders of access for those striving to get into the middle class. That's the idea that drove me. That's the idea that has driven the Urban League. That idea that everyone should have equal opportunity. That's what brought me to Chicago. That belief that this country works best when we are growing a strong middle class and prosperity is broad-based. That's what led me into politics. And it is those values that have guided every decision that I have made as President of the United States. Now, today, we're battling our way back from a once-in-a-lifetime economic crisis. And make no mistake, we've made progress in that fight. When I took office, we were losing hundreds of thousands of jobs a month. Our auto industry was on the brinks of collapse. Factories were boarding up their windows. We'd gone through almost a decade in which job growth had been sluggish, incomes had declined, costs were going up, all culminating in the financial system coming close to a breakdown. And today, 3.5 years later, we've had 28 straight months of private sector job growth. 3.5 years later, the auto industry has come roaring back. 3.5 years later, companies are beginning to bring thousands of jobs back to American soil. But we still have much more work to do. There's still too many out of work, too many homes underwater, too many Americans struggling to stay afloat. So the greater challenge that faces us is not just going back to where we were back in 2007, not just settling to get back to where we were before the crisis hit. Our task is to return to an America that is thriving and growing out from our middle class, where hard work pays off, where you can make it if you try. And Urban League, I want you to know what's holding us back from meeting these challenges is not a lack of ideas or solutions. I have no patience with people who say our best days are behind us, because the fact of the matter is we still have the best workers in the world, the best universities in the world, the best research facilities in the world, the most entrepreneurial culture in the world.
You're watching President Obama speaking live at the National Urban League convention in New Orleans, Louisiana. We'll have more of his speech, and our political panel will weigh in on his comments. Stay tuned.